Everybody out in YouTube land, how you doing today? Hope everything's going well for you. We're going to do a drain and refill on our 2010 Nissan Maxima. Drain and refill on the coolant or antifreeze, whichever you want to call it. Seems people call it coolant in the summertime and antifreeze in the fall where I live. But in any case, this is what we're going to use. I did a drain and refill previously using Nissan's factory OEM, I should say, antifreeze coolant previously. That's what's in the car now. It's been in there for about 5 years. Unfortunately, the price of the Nissan branded antifreeze has gotten so expensive, $35 a gallon for diluted stuff that I've seen anyway, that I decided to go after a different brand, and I'm going to use this one this time. This of course is made by Peak. It says right on the label, but it's the blue stuff. I have the blue stuff in the car already. The blue stuff is what came originally in the Nissan. Yours may have been replaced by something else at some point, but this is what I use. I don't like mixing different types of coolant because I don't know what the results are going to be afterwards. I'm told that mixing some of the different types of antifreeze can cause issues with the cooling system because the chemistry is different in them. I'm not that smart, so I'm just going to use the same thing. And I happen to be using Peak this time. I used Nissan the last time, like I said. So this is basically what we're going to do. So my understanding is the drain plug on this car for the radiator is down here on the right side. Driver's right side, I should say, passenger side of the vehicle. We're going to get this thing up on some stands and drain the antifreeze coolant out, and then we're going to flush it out, and once we're done, we're going to refill it. I'm not sure exactly how much it's going to hold. I wasn't able to find any information on YouTube or anywhere else on the internet, so we're just going to wing it. Stick around to the end of the video. I should have the refill amount somewhere on here, so hopefully that'll help you. This way you'll know how much to buy. What I've done, guys, is I've left my car parked overnight, and the reason I do this, leave it overnight, is because whether or not you realize this, but it takes several hours, like 10 or 12 hours, for all the coolant in the car to cool off the ambient air temperature. That's because some of the coolant is inside the engine block, and it takes quite a while for that to cool off. So I never like to flush or drain antifreeze out unless the car's been sitting overnight, which is what I've done in this case today with this vehicle. And what I did was I put it up on a set of ramps, and the ramps are nice because they allow you to get full access underneath the car. You don't need a ton of room, but I'm an older guy, so it's difficult for me to get underneath there and up and down and all that stuff. So I put it on ramps, and now use the benefit of my mistake. What you want to do is you want to put it on the ramps the night before you're going to do this. Let the car sit overnight. This way when you walk out first thing in the morning, you can start draining the antifreeze out, and you can get it all set up ready to go, so you can flush it and clean it out. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this piece of plastic here. It's a cover that goes over the accessory drive end of the engine, and that's held in place just by this little screw right here. This comes out, that's what holds that in, and then this cover just lifts off. Comes off just like that. Put that to the side. Okay guys, so now I'm underneath the car. What I did was I got myself a drain pan to collect the antifreeze, and I believe this little hole, and this is on the passenger side. If you look up in there, and I'm not sure if you can see it, this guy right here, right above that I think is a petcock. But what I'm going to have to do is I have to take out this plastic filler panel, this whole piece underneath the car, which I'm going to take out now. And okay guys, so now what I've done is I took the hose off the outlet on the radiator, which goes to the coolant recovery tank right here, and this guy right here, this goes on there. I've taken this off. I allowed it to drain into the oil, the catch pan, and I rinsed the coolant recovery bottle out, and you want to make sure you do that, and it's got to be cleaned out because the antifreeze and coolant goes into this bottle. What you do is when you're done with this process, when you fill up the radiator, what you're going to do is you're going to fill the radiator up all the way to the top, close the cap, and then fill this up to the hot level mark on the bottle if there is one, or the max mark on it. I think it says max right there. And by doing that, what's going to happen is it's going to force the air out from the cooling system to the top of the radiator. When it gets hot, it's going to force it and eject it into the bottle. And then when the engine cools off after you shut it down, what it's going to do is it's then going to pull antifreeze out of the bottle and into the radiator. So what you want to do is get the engine hot after you refill it. Once it's hot, get the cap. The cap is going to be on it. Let it run for a while. Let it get as much air out as possible. Then what you do is let it cool, and the antifreeze will get sucked right back into the radiator because everything kind of expands when it cools back up and pulls the antifreeze back in. I should say the antifreeze cools, and that shrinks and pulls the antifreeze from the recovery tank into the top of the radiator. And once it does that, that should fill everything right back up. So what I do anyway is I drain this out, and what I'm going to do is fill this up with water, the radiator there is, and I'm going to fill it up with water, put the cap back on, run it for a minute or two just to get as much air to the top of the radiator as possible. Fill it up again, make sure it's full, run it for a minute or two just to get it all to circulate. And then what you should do is you should drain that all out, and by draining it out, what you need to do is catch what comes out too, because the antifreeze that's in the system is going to be really diluted, but there's going to be some antifreeze you can't get out by just draining it. So what you're going to get out is some water, but there's going to be a little bit of antifreeze in it. So you want to save that and collect that also and bring that to your recycling center. Now your recycling center, whether it's your auto parts store or your county recycling or your state recycling, whatever, should take antifreeze, and you must recycle this. You should not dump this down the drain. The reason why you shouldn't is because it's so poisonous. It's very bad for the environment. It's got a bunch of nasty problems. So what they do is they take this stuff, they clean it up. I'm not sure what they use it for, but it is used somehow. It's not resold as antifreeze, I don't believe. It's used for some other item. And, once it goes through that process, it's cleaned up, they can reuse it, which is great because you can't do anything else with it. You cannot dump it in the trash. You shouldn't put it in, like the gallon bottle shouldn't go in your regular garbage. It should not go down your sewer, whether it's your catch basin for collecting rainwater or your public, your in-house sewer down your drain and your sink. It shouldn't go anywhere like that because it's very poisonous. It's very bad for the environment. Make sure it goes back to get recycled. And you want to do the same thing with the material that comes out after you flush it. There's going to be a little bit of antifreeze left in there, at least the first time you flush it out. The second time, probably not so much. What you want to do is catch that also. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with water and let it run for a minute or two just to get the air out of the system, and then top it off with some more water, and then drain the whole thing out. And I'm going to catch that and put it in some jugs and bring that to the recycling center. So this was the first flush with water, and as you can maybe see there, there's still quite a bit of antifreeze in the engine. It's now diluted with some water and it's draining back out. But you want to make sure you collect all this stuff, like I said. This is the second drain, so I'm guessing we're probably going to have about the same amount as the first one. I hope I have enough containers to put this in. I can reuse the old antifreeze containers that I'm going to put the antifreeze in the car with, but I still might be short. So you want to make sure you have a couple of extra jugs, gallon size. My guess would be 3 or 4 would be a good thing. And you want to collect all this stuff. I'm guessing also that after this flush, I don't think I'm going to get any antifreeze back out of it anymore. This should remove the rest of the antifreeze from the engine. We'll see. I'm going to fill it up with water again and let it run for a minute or two and then drain it out again. So we'll try that again. So while I was waiting here, I just decided to polish up the headlights on the car. Headlights were getting kind of hazy and dirty, and the front of the car got kind of messed up because we got behind a gravel truck, and the gravel truck was spilling gravel all over the road, which kind of messed up the front bumper cover. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it's kind of chipped up and messed up. And also, it left some little chips and stuff on the headlights, but they were getting a little bit hazy, so what I decided to do is use this stuff. And I don't know if it's the right stuff, the best stuff, the worst stuff, whatever, to clean up the headlights. And that's what I used. It took the haze out. They look pretty clear now. There's a lot of stuff that they sell to do this. Again, I don't know if this is the right stuff or not, but it seems to have worked pretty well. I've done it a few times, maybe about a year ago or so, and I guess that's why they named that product what it is. So the once a year car polish, I guess. I'm not saying that, again, that's the right stuff, that's the best stuff. There's probably other people that have other opinions. They may have a better product to use on it, but this is what I had on hand. And I've used it before with pretty good results. So I figured I'd just pass along this information. Maybe it'll help somebody. So now what I've done was I've drained it 3 times. The first time to get the initial amount of antifreeze out. The second time flushing it out with water and then recollecting the antifreeze. And the third time also flushing it out and then connecting the antifreeze. And that's all that I got out of antifreeze. There was a little bit probably more in the engine. The fourth time I just kind of let it fill up with water and then I drained it out and ran the engine for, you know, a minute or so just to get as much air out of the system as possible, get the water to flow through there. Drained that out. That was almost all water, so I'm not too concerned with that. I think we got it all cleaned out. And now what I did is I filled up the radiator to the top of the fuller neck as far as you can go there. That's about it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the overflow tank right there. And what I did was I'm just waiting for a little more air to come out of here. It takes quite a while to fill it up with it running. I also have the heater on inside the car. I don't know if this is a full flow system where the heater core is always got antifreeze flowing through it, or there's a valve that valves it off when the AC is on. Some of the older cars did that. I don't think they really do that anymore. They just use the blend door to control the heat or lack of heat. And so I filled it up slowly, and I used a whole gallon of antifreeze and about half of this one. So no way of really telling, but this is about half full, and I think we're good. And there you go. So here we go, guys. This is the last shot. Everything's done. Cap's back on the radiator. The coolant is filled up in the reservoir. I don't know if you can see it down there, but it is up to the max mark. And there's a little light. I don't know if that shows any better, but it is full up to the max mark, and that's where I'm going to leave it. And we'll see what happens. I'll check it in a day or so, and we'll go from there. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe. If you have a comment, please let me know if there's something we could do better, or if you'd like to see something in particular going forward, maintenance-wise, on either this 2010 Nissan Maxima or my 05 Silverado Chevy pickup. More than happy to make the videos if it helps somebody. That's why I'm doing it in the first place. Not making any money off of this, that's for sure, and it does take quite a bit of time to do these. So if it is helpful for you, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.